Hi, in this video we'll continue doing upgrades to the Asus K50i laptop. As you saw in part 1, we were successful in upgrading the memory and improving system performance. Now it's time to upgrade the CPU. We will be installing an Intel T9500 dual-core that is of questionable compatibility with this computer and see if we are successful with this model CPU on this computer. Also, we will take a look at how much does this upgrade improves this system. Let's begin. Like in part 1, here is a quick look at our system properties. The current CPU we see displayed is the factory installed Intel T9400 running at 2.2 GHz. For benchmarks, once again, we will use performance test to have a baseline on how the upgrade will affect the overall performance. Unlike the benchmark on the memory upgrade video, we are not closing any applications, including those on the background, to have a more accurate real-time score. More like how this computer will be used with loaded software when Windows boots. Having completed the test, the overall score is 586.1. We are going to use that as our baseline to compare it to after installing our new CPU. Let's proceed with the CPU removal. To get to where we are now, just follow the procedure on part 1. The link will be in the description. We first need to remove the cooling fan. It's also a good time to check for dust or any other contamination that could restrict airflow. Here under the tape and wires, there is another screw holding the fan. Then, move the fan to the side. After that, we remove the heatsink by removing 4 screws in an X pattern or by following the numbers stamped on the bracket. That serves as to prevent the heatsink from twisting. To take the CPU out, then we turn the lock knob counterclockwise with a small flathead screwdriver, releasing the locked CPU. Now we lift the CPU carefully, not to bend any pins, just in case we might need the CPU again or for another computer. Now we just need to insert the new CPU in the socket, being careful not to force it down, as it should just fall in place. If it's not, check the pin 1 marking on the CPU it's aligned with the pin 1 marking on the socket, and that there are no bent pins before installation. If you need to use force, then there's definitely a problem. Stop at this time in such a case and check for contamination in the socket. Here we have a comparison in die size. The T9500 has a larger die than the T4400, that is in part for the larger amount of cache memory. Also, it's important to note that this computer takes a PGA CPU and not a BGA CPU. We need to consider that as the CPU comes in 2 formats, and it's very easy to get the wrong one. Now that the CPU is installed and properly secured, we are thermal paste. I like to use Arctic Silver 5 for CPU paste, but you can use what you feel is best for your application. Now we clean the heatsink out of old paste and of dust, if there is any, on the exhaust cooling fins. Once the heatsink is installed, make sure to tighten the screws in the same pattern as removed or by following the numbers that are stamped on the heatsink. Note that there is no need to over-tighten the screws, some damage will occur. And last but not least, install the cooling fan. Now let's close this down and power it up and see what does it do. Now that everything is put back together, let's power it up and check if it will boot. It's putting into Windows, which it means it worked. No major difference in boot speed here, but we'll see. It finished installing a driver that asks for a restart, so let's do that now. The system booted with no conflict so far, so let's see what Windows is viewing in System Properties for CPU information. The system detected the T9500 CPU, which again is great for a 2009 computer. Now that I'm moving around, it feels snappier, but let's do a window experience to see if the CPU score increases. As you can see, it is 5.5, so let's see how much does it increase. It did increase from 5.5 to 6.2. Now let's go do a final performance test and see how well does the CPU processes. So I'm going to time-lapse this section and come back with the results. Alright, the test completed with an overall score of 531.5, which is lower than the baseline overall score of 586. But there's one thing and no excuses here. Although we lost some points in the CPU test, I need to point out that I was using the screen recording software in the background while performing the benchmark in conjunction with the regular software that boot with Windows. So I feel that we improved the overall performance, not by a huge number, but I was not expecting to have quad-core speeds, but it is better than before. I have been using it for a while and it operates smoother, and software load times are faster than with a T9400 CPU. This has better performance, it runs smoother than before as the notebook CPU and memory has been upgraded to its maximum limit. And we were successful in upgrading the memory and now the CPU on this computer. So there is one last upgrade I've been wanting to do for some time. Stay tuned for that one. I hope that this has been helpful, interesting, or at least entertaining. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment. If you want to see more like it, stay tuned for more. Until next time.